In this video, we're going to determine whether each of the following electron configurations is correct or wrong, and then fix them. So let's first start with lithium, our 1s and our 2s electrons. So lithium has the correct number of electrons, that's 3 electrons, but the order that we filled them in is wrong. So this is going to be wrong. And it's wrong because we moved up and filled up the 2s before we filled up the 1s. And that's going to go against our Aufbau principle. Where we have to fill from the bottom up. So from our lowest energy up to our highest energy. So if we wanted to correct that, it would look something like this. Our 1s and our 2s, we'd have 2 electrons in our 1s and then only 1 in our 2s. Now let's move on to fluorine. See that we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 electrons. That's correct. Fluorine has 9 electrons. But we see that we have this little issue here with 2 electrons both pointing up inside the same orbital. So that would make this one wrong. And what that is going to be going against is our Pauli Exclusion Principle. Which states that we can't have 2 electrons with the same 4 quantum numbers. Or, a simpler way to say that is we can't have 2 electrons with the same spin inside of an orbital. So the way that we would fix that is we'd have our 1s, 2s, and our 2p. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 1s would actually look something like this with a spin up and a spin down. Our 2s and our 2p would both look the same because those are correct. Finally, let's move on to our last one with manganese. So this has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25 electrons. That's correct. We can see that it's filling up from the bottom to the top. That's looking good until we run into our issue here. We have now run into another wrong example. Now this one is going to violate Hund's Rule, which states that we need to fill up all of the empty orbitals first before we come back and pair those electrons up. So let's fix this. Since 1s through 4s is correct, we'll just focus on the 3d. So for the 3d, in order for that to be correct, we have our 5 orbitals. We'd actually do just 1 in each of the orbitals first before coming back and filling up. Since we only have 5 electrons in that 3d, that's all that we need to fill it in for. So we can see that our Aufbau principle here at the top means we have to fill from the bottom up. Next, our Pauli Exclusion Principle says that we can't have 2 electrons with the same spin within an orbital. And then finally, our Hund's Rule states that we need to fill in all empty orbitals first before we go back and pair up our electrons.